Hello, and today we'll be playing Wayfinder. So up to date with the main story for now, but is some extra content that have been unlocked, so we gotta go ahead and cover those. You decided the rain today made you feel nostalgic enough to go dipping. You decided to the rain today made you feel nostalgic enough to go digging through your old attic. So here you are digging through dusty boxes and sifting through cobwebs and webs, searching. Although you aren't exactly too sure what you're searching for. Well, regardless, it seems you've managed to find it. This secret journal lost to yours, but lost to you for years. A tome filled to the brim with the tales your friends told you over the years you spent together. Sometimes the stories were about you. Sometimes they had nothing to do with you, but were just as important to you as the same, or all the same. Sometimes they had nothing to do with you, but were just as important to you all the same. Covered in a thick layer of dust, you try to brush the book's cover off with a sleeve and feeling that blow the dust away like in those fantasy movies. You know how that usually do. Hello, and today we'll be playing Wayfinder. So we're up to date with the story for now, but there's extra content available. So I'll go ahead and cover that. You decided the rain today made you feel nostalgic enough to go digging through your old attic. So here you are, digging through dusty boxes and sifting through cobwebs and webs, searching, although you aren't exactly too sure what you're searching for. Well, regardless, it seems you've managed to find it. This secret journal lost to you for years. A tome filled to the brim with the tales your friends told you over the years you spent together. Sometimes the stories were about you. Sometimes they had nothing to do with you, but were just as important to you all the same. Covered in a thick layer of dust, you tried to brush the book's cover off with a sleeve and feeling that blow the dust away like in those fantasy movies. You know how that usually goes. Ew, tastes like abandonment. The name you expected to see is on the front, one you haven't spoken in a long time. A name from your youth, of a life you've long since laid to rest, the life of a finder. You say the name out loud. Then that takes me back You sighed and turned the musty, leather-bound tome on its side and opened the cover. You scanned the jumbled contents of the first few pages. Most of it seems to be nonsense, or notes, or doodles. Finally, about 20 or so pages in, you find a makeshift table of contents. In this side story, you will read bonus scenes you've unlocked through reading the main story. What secrets might you find as you progress? Try returning after finishing each act of the main story to see. Which chapter would you like to view? You decide to return to the chapter that's marked to rights. The name is a bit ominous, and when you get to the page number, there's a note left in the top left corner. I can't believe you wrote about this. Still, thanks for telling those bastards off for me, Finn. You smile. You remember Gerald as a bit of a snarky, sarcastic guy. Something comforting overwhelms you as you begin to read. Chapter 1, The Rights. The chilly autumn air was starting to take its toll on the group of wolf giants. The six elders stood in front of a great mirror at the foot of a pond. Around them sat dozens of other wolf giants, huddled together between several torches for warmth, each one soaking wet from the passage between the pond. Zhao wasn't the oldest of them, but he certainly felt like it at that moment. Looking upon the visages of the three young wolf giants cast before them in the great mirror, Zhao felt it wouldn't be long before the people of the Ironwood knew knew a great knew a new great chief. I see the three of you have found a finder on Midgard. Zhao spoke through his mind with magic to all present and listening through the through the looking glass. Zhao spoke through his mind with magic to all present and listening through the looking glass. Each of the candidates was in a separate place, but magic worked in mysterious ways, and so they appeared to be standing right next to one another. From what Zhao understood, the looking glass magic showed the caster a vision of his targets while putting each target in a liminal space of sorts. It brings us great joy to know our goals are swiftly being met. A heckle broke out, and the three young wolf giants looked worriedly towards its source. The oldest of the elders, Torvald, let out another hearty laugh. You boys have done well to find him so soon. It's only been a little over 2 days since we sent you all there. A testament to the leanness of the great wolf, to be sure. Zhao had forgotten all about that. Each one of them was a descendant of the wolf giant's progenitor. Ah, that's right. Orca and Jill are each of Skull's lines, and Bjorn is of Hattie's line. Royd, the youngest of the elders, perked up at this. Oh, it's you three. I'm so glad we decided to choose you all as candidates and sent you to find a finder from the mortal realm. The gray-furred wolf swayed in place happily. Next to him, the second youngest, Arlo, scoffed and sucked his teeth, speaking audibly without magic so only those in the vicinity could hear. You decided I was, and still am, against the whole ordeal. We all know the only real way to guide our people is for us to do it ourselves. This elicits a laugh from the opposite side of the outfit of elders. It was Eldred who spoke with a condescending tone as if scolding a child. While I can agree that I prefer we fix our own problems, you know as well as I do that we can barely agree on the time of day, let alone half the problems our people face. Electing a great wolf chief and having them guided by a council who hail from various tribes is the best course of action here. While Oros and Eldred were brothers born 2 years apart, they couldn't have been more different. Their posture and attitudes in this moment proved that. Oros scowled at his older brother. Still, we do not need some human from the mortal realm deciding who that leader should be. Eldred shrugged, shaking his head. You expect us to elect a leader without bias? Even now, there are those conspiring within our very own village to take the seat. This quiets the uppity wolf giant who flicks his tongue in annoyance. The 3 young wolf giants looked among themselves in confusion, wondering what the hang-up was, no doubt. Could we please keep things on track? We have guests with us, and these rights will not start themselves. The smallest of the elders finally spoke up, his cool voice always sent shivers down Zhao's neck. Were I but a decade or two younger, I might have had a chance to be yours, my sleek friend. Alas, Zhao shook off the thoughts. This wasn't a time for longing or headache or heartache. Excuse me. This wasn't a time for longing or heartache. Clothiali was right. They needed a focus. The wolves who had passed through the pond from the mortal realm were desperately trying to warm up. They had been informed of their disqualification before the whites and had made their way to the place of entry back into Jotunheim. Although a number of wolf giants still remained in Midgard after the whites, and what came after, they would be allowed to use magic to come through in their sleep. Right you are, my friend. Clothiali smiled, looking Zhao in the eyes. But a great wolf, those eyes, no. Focus. Decided to get back on track, the elders called each of the wolf candidates in turn. Arkin of the Vessel tribe, do you claim your right to candidacy for the role of Great Chief? The green-eyed wolf giant stepped forward and spoke with convincing. He used his voice as all present could hear each of the three candidates. Yes, Bjorn of the Bear tribe. Do you claim your right to candidacy for the role of Great Chief? The amber-eyed wolf stepped forward and spoke with an air of determination, even if a bit timid. Yes, Gerald of the Spear tribe. Do you claim your right to candidacy for the role of Great Chief? The silvery wolf giant stepped forward and spoke with a steely gaze and a voice filled with resolve. Yes. The 3 young wolf giants stand at attention, awaiting the next part of the rites. After about a half hour of boring back and forth, all the elders seemed to be supplicated enough with the responses of the candidates. However, there was another matter to bring up. Sheriff, you've had a little incident involving some humans, haven't you? You allowed yourself to harm a human and his friends, it seems. Have you anything to say for this? Elder Ward, what's that? Will you say something? Speak up. I apologize, elders. The finder was in trouble. I just meant to. Thought to what exactly? What would need to be done? Have you injured or even killed that poor human? Did you not stop to think about how his family would feel, knowing their hopes and wishes for their family's future died with them? Uncle Earls, please, I. You will address me as an elder, and so humility and respect before us boy. The distress and panic on Gerald's face was horrifying to his peers. Bjorn reached out behind Gerald, resting a hand on the other wolf's shoulder to console him. Gerald didn't seem to notice even after Arkin reached out in kind. Well, you have nothing to say for yourself? Calm down, Earls. What? Gerald hasn't even finished his sentence yet, and you're already scolding him. He's also already apologized. It's good enough for me. It's not good enough for me. Gerald grimaced, shaking his head, shaking the hands of his co-candidates away. You don't know what you're talking about. You are representing the Skull Wolves. Do not allow your upbringing to lift your head beyond the clouds, boy. You will be swatted down. Is that understood? Yes, elders. Earls. Silence falls over all present. Zill's eyes scanned the floor, his face flushed with embarrassment. We can let it slide this time, Oros. He was defending the finder. Oros scoffs at this. If that pathetic human needs to be defended, then what good is he in the first place? Zhao was sick of hearing the incessant whining, but he wouldn't need to speak up because the elders did so for him. Hold your tongue. Do not disrespect the finder, Oros. You know as well as I do the regard our people hold for their kind. They are to be treated as equals. Oros seemed to be caught off guard by Turtle's interference. He grumbled in a low voice, but Zhao still heard him. Yes, well, he shall have to prove himself equal to the task, shall he not? The nigh incorrigible wolf elder grumbles and crosses his arms. After a few moments, the green-eyed candidate Arkin steps forward. Elders, if you would please answer a question for me. Zhao looks the young wolf giant over for a moment. It's Ward who speaks up this time. We will do our best to answer your question, young one. Young one. That's what's coming from the youngest of elders. Arkin asked his question. Well, you see, I've met with the finder twice now. His name is Finn. He brought up several valid concerns over the way we're using magic in this whole process. Arkin explained Finn's stance against using magic to glamour items without ensuring nothing unfair happened to the affected non-magical parties. Although Zhao felt bad, he couldn't bring himself to really see the reason to stop using magic to meet their needs. After all, what reasonable comparison can one make between the few lives affected there and the many lives affected here? This time Zhao speaks up first. While I understand both your concern as well as the finders, I'm sorry to say there are no plans to change how we are using magic. Nor are there reasons to. Zhao glared at Earls. I can handle this myself, you irritable twat. Nor are there reasons to. Zhao glared at Earls. I can handle this myself, you irritable twist. Earls, you need to quell your outbursts. Another person among us has time for such things. Our people are cold, and you are prolonging our return to warmth. Earl scowls again and quiets down. Zhao hides his smirk. Despite his irate delivery, Earl has a right of it. We do not see the need to change tactics now, so close our goals. Elders, are we allowed to tell Finn everything now? He has asked us to meet tomorrow afternoon in the nearby mall, the one in which we clothe ourselves. After a pause, Clotuali answers. You may tend to find her anything relevant to your trials and tasks. Do try to keep it as vague as you can, at least until we know for certain we can trust this human Understood? The three wolf giants nods. Good. Now we must soon head back to the village of the Spear. In order to finish the rites, our candidates and overseers must use the how to confirm that they understand their next orders. This way we lose no communication to magical interference. The how is the greatest form of communication with giants, and werewolves have. Its peerless strength of range can reach between realms and through illusions to any who are attuned to it. That cool, windy autumn night brought a cool, moonlit sky to the realms of man and giant alike. In Jotunheim, as the elders' howls pierced the night sky, in Jotunheim, a feeling of comfort settled over many wolves sleeping in their homes. In Midgard, as the candidate's howls soared through the air, a young man rose from the grip of sleep to listen to their song of hope. Which chapter would you like to view? We decided to turn to the chapter that's marked Night Sift. The name brings back memories of a story from the very start of your adventures. A note scribbled in the footnote of the first page catches your eyes first. Then, I know I mentioned this before, but I figured I'd explain why I was asking about the nighttime security guard at the mall that time. This happened the first night we wolf giants came to your world. Below that is a response hastily scrawled out. I should have known it was a bad idea to ask about it. I have even more questions now. You shake your head and chuckle to yourself. Those exchanges were always fun to be a part of. You look to the first lines of the chapter and, having nothing else to wait on, start to read. Another damn night in this place. The security guard walks into the mall just a few minutes before sunset begins. The mall is only open for another few hours, but he usually arrives early to get a briefing from the day guard. Walking upstairs to the next floor, the security guard looks out over the railing the still busy mall. That new job offer couldn't have come at a better time. Feels like this place gets creepier and creepier every night. The guard walks into the security office to wait for his shift to start. The security guard walks through the bottom floor of the mall slowly. This is the worst bit of the night for him. This place gets really creepy after dark after all. The guard settles himself. He walks through the maintenance door to head to the restroom. After he disappears, the wolf giants who had been hiding under glamour just behind him come out of the saddles. One of them speaks up. Phew, that was close. His companion scratched his own chin, slightly messing up his light brown fur. Not nearly so close as your anxieties would let you believe, Bjorn. Bjorn blushes and laughs nervously. I've never come to the realm of man before, so my anxieties aren't that unwarranted, Jane. Jane shrugs, conceding the point. True enough, I suppose. Now, down to brass tacks. Yes. The darker brown wolf giant looks around, above the two of them, scanning through his glasses. they were sent through the gate to this realm, in this very spot, only half an hour before. Although the candidates were allowed their usual garb, the elders encouraged that they use this as an opportunity to show their resourcefulness. The elders have recommended this place, the mall, to all the potential candidates so they could find some vestments to wear to blend in. Bjorn nudges Jane and points to a clothing store up above the two. Just as they are about to head up, the door's security guard returns through the door. Jane quickly casts a glamour spell over the two of them, making the wolf giants entirely see-through. The guard stops for a second, slowly looking over to where Bjorn and Jane have been standing. Hello? Is someone still there? I swear I just heard someone over there. Whatever, I don't need to deal with this for much longer. That hospital job comes with a guarantee of no night shifts. He sighs. Just a few more nights, Tyler. Bjorn tries not to squeal as Tyler walks past two wolf giants. That was rather close. We must be careful. That man was way too on edge. There's nobody to worry about in this place. Bjorn puts his palm on his muzzle and looks at Jane. Jane, what's it? We're here. We shouldn't be. We're people to worry about. Jane chuckles and pats Bjorn's shoulder. You're right. Jane seems to notice something above and points up. Hey, that's another candidate, ain't it? Bjorn looks up to where Jane pointed, seeing a white furred wolf giant swishing his tail as he enters the room. He appears to be, yes. Was he there before? I look up there a moment ago and didn't see him. Don't know, don't care. He was hot, let's go. Before Bjorn is able to say anything, Jane is off. Gerald approaches the clothing store quietly and scans its stock from the entrance. Seeing some clothes he likes on the mannequin, the silvery wolf giant begins to move to enter the room. He comes to a stop suddenly as he hears the nighttime security officer walking close to the store's entrance. Gerald waves a hand over himself to cast a glamour of invisibility. He knows he can't hold it for long, but hopefully it will last long enough. About half a minute, the guard walks on. When he's out of earshot, Gerald lowers the invisibility glamour. Knowing what he knows about the human world from the elders, he appears human to non-finders and people who can't see through the veil in some way. They have things like cameras that they use which could pick up on the wolf giants normally. Gerald walks into the storeroom and begins to undress a mannequin. Because a glamour magic usually only works on those directly witnessing it, additional magic was needed to circumvent such things from recording their likeness as well. The elders themselves cast glamour magic weaved with strong intention magic on the potential candidates to ensure it. However, something as taxing as an invisibility glamour. Gerald is good at magic, but he is not even sure the elders themselves could hold such a spell for longer than a few minutes. Normal glamour magic relies on using a person's perception of reality against them. Changing something someone sees, smells, or hears into another thing is one thing. Making someone see nothing when something is there is something else entirely. Zero shrugs as he contemplates whether or not he'd be strong enough to cast it again for long enough if that guard were to return. As he finishes finding an outfit and changing. More footsteps echo out from behind him. Two wolf giants walk into the store, both of them tall with brown fur, almost black until tickled by the light. The shorter of the two bears spectacles upon his face, the other's muzzle is speckled with white, and both have amber colored eyes. Howdy wolves. Zero recognizes them immediately. Zero rolls his eyes, knowing he wouldn't get away without having to interact with them. He's proven immediately right as he tries to walk past them and is stopped by the shorter of the two. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's the what's, cutie? Zero couldn't possibly roll his eyes any harder. He steps back and regards the one who stopped him. You both really should reconsider traveling together when stealth is required. The more of us there are gathering, the harder it will be to glamour over ourselves. Hey, thanks. Like we ask. Besides, the veil will cover us. Zero sneers. Not against those. Pointing to the camera in the corner of the store, Zero watches as Jamie and Bjorn turn their gaze upwards and use the opportunity to try to slip by. Jamie closes the gap he can. Jamie closes the gap before he can, and Zero's muzzle narrowly avoids colliding against a sandalwood scented chest of black fur. Shit. Do you mind? I'm trying to leave. Jamie smirks down at Jero. You're that skull wolf, the one who gets sick really easy, yeah? Had to be locked away. What if I am? The imposing wolf giant snorts and looks Zero up and down. Zero locks his eyes on James, waiting to strike. Jordan speaks up, trying to break the tension. I, I'm going to look for clothes. James, please let him go so you can look too. Yeah. Right. I got you, Bjorn. He disregards Bjorn immediately and turns back to Jero. Bjorn wanders off to get dressed. So, is there a reason you are heckling me? Have you nothing better to do? James chuckles and puts an arm around the smaller wolf giant, who immediately slinks away from his reach. Jero scoffs, rolls his eyes, and walks off. James follows him closely, while remarking fondly upon Jero's looks. Bjorn rolls his eyes too, and begins to look for clothes. Bjorn finally finds an outfit he likes on a mannequin next to a fully clothed one and a naked one, and after ensuring nobody's nearby, he begins to try the clothes on. Suddenly, another wolf giant enters the clothing store, and Bjorn drops everything out of surprise. Eat! Both of them begin to laugh as Bjorn picks the clothes up off the floor and starts to change them. Yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea another wolf giant was in here. I'm just looking for clothes to blend in. Yes, my brother and I also decided to look up here. We did come through this. We did come through this to this world using the gate down below. After all, it's the quickest solution. There was another wolf giant here, but my brother seemed to want to annoy him away, so he probably won't be back. The other wolf giant, not my brother, he'll probably be back. The wolf giant just, well, the wolf giant who just arrived chuckled again as he nods along. Name's Arkin. Glad to know you. Bjorn, pleasure's mine. Well, Bjorn, I'm still like naked. Bjorn's taking it back. Sorry, I'll get out of your hair. Bjorn stops and looks at the clothed mannequin in between the two who are now naked. He looks back over to Arkin. Those look like they suit you, and the jacket matches your eyes. Arkin chuckles and looks at the mannequin as Bjorn moves away. The group of three mannequins is left entirely naked. When Arkin begins to change, he notices Bjorn is no longer in the store. Arkin slowly gets ready to put the clothes on. Arkin hears fast footsteps coming from outside. How are you making the cameras blurry? I thought you were a ghost or something. I'm sorry. Stop chasing me. Bjorn enters the room and stops when he sees Arkin. Arkin freezes up and slowly turns, exposing himself to Bjorn and the bewildered night guard who has stopped in his tracks, looking directly at Arkin. Arkin finishes slipping on the garments. The guard blushes hard and yells at Bjorn. Also blushing, slips away. You flaccid fucker! Get out here! The guard pulls out his baton and starts to run into the store after Arkin. Arkin blushes and hurriedly grabs all his clothes and begins to run completely naked around a display, avoiding the guard. He scurries through the entrance to the store and, to the guard's horror, launches himself over the railing to jump down below. Arkin throws the clothes he took from the store on hastily and then runs off just as he sees the guard descending the escalator. Arkin finds an emergency exit and as he's running through it, he hears the security guard screaming, "Another naked man! Hey there, handsome. You come here often. I'm done with this mall. I quit." Which chapter would you like to view? This is the last one here. You turn to the page labeled New Bonds. On the foot of the page, you see a note scrawled out. I still think back on this whenever I near Puss. It's easy to forget we three were once just candidates, competitors for the title of Great Chief. That is until you came along and befriended the three of us. Bjorn, he always had a way with words. On more than one occasion, you found yourself in awe as he used his silver tongue to easily diffuse tense situations. You looked beneath Bjorn's words and read on. You flattered me. I was really just a confused and indecisive ball of anxiety who just managed to be there when you three needed. That isn't how you phrase it, especially after experiencing as much as you have. Still, there's a bit of truth to it that you can relate to. There's more to the note, but you decide to leave it for now. You turn your eyes to the top of the page and begin to read its contents, wondering how your point of view might evolve. The motley crew entered the private bar room Bjorn rented out in a single file line, with the tallest of the wolf giants at the front, followed by Arkin and Gerald, and finally him, the finder. Then, as the others find their seats, Bjorn moved behind the bar to the surprise of Gerald and Arkin. Finn just smirked and looked to Bjorn. Well, I didn't know you could bartend, Bjorn. Here I am, expecting you to just get drunk with us. Bjorn smiled at Arkin and gave a little bow. So then, what will you all have? Zero looked around nervously and Finn seemed to pick up on it. Joe, let's just start off with some salsa tequila. Joe seems to have never had alcohol before, but Joe looked around nervously and then seemed to pick up on it. Joe, let's just start off with some salsa tequila. Joe seems to have never had alcohol before. He must be intimidated. Maybe Finn has picked up on this as well. Joe confirmed Bjorn's thoughts just a moment later. So, sure, I've never had it before. Is it good? Not particularly, but it's not really about the taste. It's more for the unwinding. Does that make sense? And, another shot, please. Holy moly. He's on his ninth shot in as many minutes. Jill, you should slow down a bit. Let's get something that you can sip on for a bit. Okay? Elkin looks at Bjorn in awe, still impressed by his bartending ability. That or just decided that he had a friend who can drink like himself. That or just excited that he had a friend who can drink like himself. Orkin, for his part, was on mid number 3. Finn looked at Bjorn and sighed, and the wolf giant chuckled. He realizes he's in for quite the time wrangling the two of them, and I don't envy them. So what'll it be then? Finn smirked knowingly, winking. Well, do you have anything fragrant so our friend here? He nodded, and he nodded his head toward Gerald, who was staring at his empty shot glass in disdain. Can take this, can take his time a bit. Fragrant, huh? Something with a flower of some kind, I suppose. But first, Gerald. Yes? Bjorn's sudden call snapped Gerald out of his stupor. Are you allergic to flowers or just pollen? It's just the pollen. It ruins my sinuses and things get pretty sniffly and sneezy. I see. I may have just a thing. Oh, make it 2 then. If that's the case. The devil's bartender wolf smiled and issued a nod toward his human friend. Hey, may as well make it 3 if that's okay. Don't want to be left out. Bjorn gave Arkin a quizzical look, eyeing the other wolf giant's still filled mug. Arkin followed Bjorn's gaze, noticed his drink. He looked back to Bjorn with a cunning smirk. Then, in a matter of seconds, he chugged the entire mug and, after setting it down, folded his arms cleanly in front of him atop the bar counter with a cheeky grin. Bjorn couldn't help but smile. Here, I'll just make one each for the 4 of us. The 3 patrons watched Bjorn as he swiftly made his way around behind the bar. He gathered 2 lemons, a bottle of bourbon, and a shaker. Next, he cut the lemon in half. Oh, this one is so good. Bjorn wedged one half and squeezed the juice from the other half into the shaker. After he cut the second lemon into, Bjorn squeezed some more juice from one of the house into the shaker as well. The woven bartender scanned the counter and picked up a bottle of lavender simple syrup. He measured out 1 ounce and poured it into the shaker with the lemon juice. Following up, Bjorn took a bottle of bourbon off the shelf below the top shelf. I've never had bourbon before, but that looks inviting. He measured out 4 ounces and added it into the shaker and dropping a cube of ice in after Bjorn closed the shaker tight. He shook the mixture up until he couldn't hear the ice against the inside of the shaker anymore. After enough time, Bjorn removed the top from the shaker and ready for double rocks glasses. I can always smell it. He reached for an ice scooper and gathered some crushed ice, then filled each of the glasses near to the top. Bjorn poured the concoction from the shaker into two of the glasses, then repeated the process of mixing the drink into the shaker to round out the other two in less than a minute. He poured his mixed drink into the remaining glasses, topping each with a sprig of lavender, save for Gerald's, which received a cherry and one of the lemon wedges. The other men watched in astonishment as Bjorn fluidly presented the drinks to each with a metallic straw. For lavender, whiskey fixes for 4 thirsty boys. Amazing, the Bjorn special. These look quite interesting. They smell so good, too. Bjorn smiled a wide and toothy smile, proud of his companions' reactions. This is one of my favorites. I make it pretty often, so I make sure this bar keeps enough of the ingredients stocked. Lavender and lemon, I'm intrigued. Finn and Gerald were the first to drink. So, what do you all think? Finn's face blushed with some human emotion. Bjorn couldn't read. Gerald's face, however, lit up with excitement. Orkin took a sip next, and though he winced at first, his eyes lit up after. You know, I already think it's delicious. I agree. I love it. Bjorn smiled as the drink proved a hit. So, you guys told me why Orkin's line is called the vessel line. But what about the other lines of Skull and Hati? Orkin chuckled and appeased Finn's curiosity. Well, Gerald's line is called the Spear line, as they were considered the legitimate direct lineage of Skull. It's the straightforward lineage, so to speak. Bjorn's line is called the Bear line, a more recent line. Bjorn's line is called the Bear line, a more recent line, or a more recent name. Bjorn's line is called the Bear line, a more recent name. Why bear? Bjorn tensed up again. The elders, from our time between then and now, gave our lines these names to more easily discuss us. But since we recently took back the role of great chief, the elders likened the period out of power to a hibernation. Hence, bears. Cute. Finn nodded in understanding, hiding his delight at the nickname's fittingness for Bjorn's stature. Bjorn smiled at Finn and began preparing a second round of drinks as the group chatted away. After a short while, there was a sort of cadence that permeated the room. After a short while, there was a sort of cadence that permeated the room. The laughter slowly quelled, and the drinking slowed as well. So, Finn, what is it exactly you have to do tomorrow before the Halloween party? Not that I'm mean to pry, but you mentioned something important. Finn noticeably froze up for a moment, but then shook it off. It's some family stuff I need to handle with my mom. I don't want to bore you. Oh, I see. Well, hopefully that's not too bad. Zero seemed to be wholly unaware of the way Finn was reacting to his questions, but how could anyone blame him? Bjorn shook his head and took the glass Gerald was holding away, to the younger wolf's chagrin. Orkin, somehow completely unfazed by the 7 mugs of ale and 3 cocktails he tanked, was not so oblivious to the tension Finn's face clearly showed. He moved a bit closer to Finn on his bar stool and leaned into him. You're doing good, Finn. Need anything? Finn, seemingly stressed and concerned about something, grunted and shook his head. He rose from his seat and sheepishly smiled at Arkin, turning toward Bjorn and Gerald with the same smile. I'm fine, I should go. I need to sleep for that thing tomorrow. What, right now? All by yourself? Yeah, why? Then, it's nighttime, and you live a kilometer away. How far is that in miles? No, don't answer that. It's besides the point. I'll be alright. I walked that way, I walked that before. You just tried to walk earlier. This week, you were almost scared. Okay, so like, in 1 kilometer, that's 0.62 miles. So, I believe that's like 6 blocks. You were with me and were almost scared. Bjorn handed Gerald a glass of water and pat him on the head gently. What? Oh, thank you. Gerald blushed and a gentle smile crossed his face as he turned away, leaning his head on his hand and taking a sip of the water. Ben, please, there must be a safer way to get home. Won't you allow one of us to walk with you? Ben was noticeably upset and shook his head vehemently. You guys made light work of that mugger earlier, and if he is the one attacking people on campus, Ben looked at Arkin, or even the same guy from the other night, I'm sure he'll think twice before targeting me again. I'll be alright. I know I'm necessary for your people's future, but you don't have to go to such lengths. Finn pulled out his phone. Besides, it's the modern age. I can just get a ride home. Finn loaded up a wide-sharing app, and after setting the ride up, he confirmed the order. He turned his phone toward Arkin and Bjorn. See, ride is 2 minutes away. I'll be safe, I promise. Arkin and Bjorn gave one another a look, and Arkin nodded. Well, Finn, if you're sure you won't be followed by that creep. It'll be okay, Arkin, but thank you for worrying, you guys. Finn walked up to the bar counter and reached out to Bjorn. After taking Bjorn's arm and lifting it toward himself, Finn placed his hand over the bandaged wound Bjorn received, defending him. Seriously, thank you. Finn's eyes were filled with worry and appreciation, and Bjorn's heart fluttered a bit. The large wolfman felt his cheeks getting warmer, and he smiled. Of course, Finn, you're worth defending, and I'd do it again. Finn smiled, locking eyes with Bjorn. I'll do my best to not let it come to that. Bjorn smiled back, meeting the determined gaze of a finder. Finn had long since left, and Bjorn and Arkin and Gerald were still hanging around the bar. Gerald, not quite drunk but definitely buzzed, leaned in and locked eyes with Bjorn. Seriously, Bjorn, I'm sorry for how I've been treating you. I'm glad Finn taught some sense to me, but it shouldn't have come to it. Bjorn nods and places a hand on Gerald's shoulder. Water under the bridge now, good friend. You're too kind. Honestly, I don't know what came over me. That mindset is one my family has, but I've never really agreed with them on most anything. It's probably stress. We all feel the weight of the competition. Gerald seemed surprised when Arkin spoke up. Bjorn, too, looked at him as though he'd witnessed a miracle. Competition, I suppose I hadn't thought of that since we met Finn. We're not exactly supposed to be partners. It's cause he brought us together so easily. Finn's nice. Finn is very sweet. He has such a sweet, soft human. Zero's words came out mildly slurred, but he shook his head. Finn is soft. I like messing up his hair. Bjorn smuttered as Arkin and Zero reminisced about their human friend. His mind wandered to Finn, but he held his own against that shadowy figure, and even before, how he practically warned Bjorn about his presence. Shaking the thought off, Bjorn looked towards his new friends. We're doing things different now. We promised Finn we'd be in this together. I intend to keep that promise, and the first step is this. Bjorn motions towards the drinks he just finished preparing, another round of the Bjorn special. Last one for me. You know, this is the first time I've ever been to a bar or had any alcohol without sneaking it. Your family really keeps you locked away, huh? Bjorn felt a pang of guilt over his remark back on the street, but they since made up. Yes, they section off a wing of the castle and only allow servants or instructors in and out, other than visiting me themselves. Sometimes, Orkin looks puzzled and caught an eyebrow, excuse me. Yes, they section off a wing in the castle and only allow servants or instructors in and out other than visiting me themselves. Yes, they section off a wing of the castle and only allow servants or instructors in and out other than visiting them. Yes, they section off a wing of the castle and only allow servants or instructors in and out other than visiting me themselves. Sometimes. Orkin looks puzzled and caught an eyebrow. How big is the wing of the castle? Do you get to run around and have a lot of fun? Well, as big as it is, it might as well be a small box. I've long since explored every nook and cranny, and there's scarcely any stone I haven't checked for secret passages. His cheeks turned bright red. You know, to escape. Even getting to be away as long as I have has been a dream come true. Is why I felt I needed to win. Even if I don't. Jill turned to Arkin and placed a hand across the bar, resting it on the bigger wolf's forearm. He looked Bjorn in the eyes and nodded, then turned to Arkin. You will both make great leaders. I'll be proud to work with either of you. There was a moment of silence, and Arkin placed his arm on Jill's shoulder. I wouldn't let them take you back, you know. Neither will I. You'll be free to remain, or roam wheresoever you desire. Gerald's eyes widened and his breath hissed. Then he turned away from the pair. You both, thank you. Your family expects too much from you, Gerald. I can understand how that feels. Does your family treat you similarly, Arkin? Arkin frowned and shook his head, then smiled wide. Oh no, my family's great. I love them all a lot. My brother, Eric, is sick a lot and needs help sometimes, but he always tells the coolest stories and makes some really great snacks. My little brother, Wolf, is the silliest and most adorable little guy ever. He's so adventurous and always plays with the fey creatures around the village. Bjorn tilted his head, wondering why Arkin mentioned being able to relate. Gerald, too, seemed to be waiting for how this connected to him. Mama's the best, too. Her cooking is the only thing in both worlds that's ever made me feel full. She helps the older villagers every day, nursing them and caring for their animals and homes. I run around doing all sorts of errands for them, all like loading up paper paper pails for them from the well, working in working the fields, cutting down trees, and I went around doing all sorts of errands for him. I went around doing all sorts of errands for them. I like loading up water pails for them from the well, working their fields, cutting down trees in the woods, and chopping it all up for firewood. I can list several dozen tasks as Bjorn downed his drink. Sometimes in the middle of it, Zero finished his, and their eyes caught one another. Arkin was explaining the details of how he made sure to get enough things done to be gone for a week when Bjorn stopped him. Arkin, do you do all that yourself? Well, yeah. Like I said, Eric is sickly and Rolf is just little. There aren't any other people in the village who can. You weren't kidding about there not being any healthy people in your village to be candidates. Not that I thought it was a joke, mind you, just your people place a lot of trust in you. It must be scary to imagine letting them down. Yeah, I don't think I could go back and face him if I failed. Silver and Bjorn share silence between them, but after a few moments, Bjorn speaks. Finn was trying not to mention what he is doing tomorrow. He's keeping something from us because he doesn't want to burden us with it, but we've already been burdening him with our problems. You're not wrong. I think I've shared more with him than anyone else, except maybe now you two. Yeah, he brought us together. Let's be there for him tomorrow. We'll do our best. The three shared a toast and did a shot, the final one of the night. Defend. Oh, that's nice. After downing it, Sheriff looked to Arkin. They nodded to one another, and Arkin turned to Bjorn. Well, don't hold out on us. What's gnawing your paw? Bjorn, surprised at the sudden question, tensed up again. He took a breath and exhaled. I'm scared that I'll let my Uncle Carhu down. It's hard to reconcile the man who raised me and who I loved with the man who seems to have ruined my, well, it's hard to reconcile the man who raised me and who I love with the man who seems to have ruined so many lives. My parents wanted either me and my brother to become the great chief, but only so they could keep living in comfort. Arkin and Gerald both leaned into Bjorn. It's not your duty to be the one who undoes what has been done. It's everyone's. No matter what, Bjorn, whichever of us becomes great chief, will all work together. Right, for Jotunheim, for Finn, for Jotunheim, and for Finn. They did it without even realizing. The three of them made a pact that night. Their hands came together. Three goals became one. Your eyes find their way to the bottom of the page again and read the rest of the note. I can't help but think back fondly on those days. I wonder what things may be like if that promise of cooperation had never been made. Our journey together might have ended well before it could truly begin. But I'm confident in saying I have loved you every bit as much as I do now, and always will. You trace your finger over the note. There's no need to worry about things like that now. Our journey has long since ended. Which chapter really liked of you? And we did all of them, so move on. You close a book with a bookmark and take it downstairs. Walking through your home, you come to a table next to a fireplace in your well-lit sitting room. You decide to start up the fireplace to make things a bit more cozy. After a few minutes, you happily place the screen guard in front of the fireplace. Can never be too careful. You sit on the plush, pillow-laden chaise long by the fireplace. Opening the tome back up, something slips out. It's a piece of paper folded vertically and pressed flat, likely sitting inside the journal for a long time. You unfold the paper carefully and see that it's a note. You glance over the note with a strange mix of nostalgia and shock. Hey, love, left to go gather more wood. It's been so cold for you this winter, huh? Make sure to stoke it while you can. We still have some kindling left. Can't wait to make you nice and warm when I get back. You set the note down, eyes wet with tears. You set the note down, eyes wet with tears. It's from a time long past and from one of your most precious memories at least. Well, you set the note down, eyes wet with tears. It's from a time long past and from one of your most precious memories at that. You need a break. Too many emotions swelling up over the time spent perusing memories. You lean back into the chaise long and close your eyes. Memories swirl and float through your mind, visions of things long forgotten and buried intensely. You only get one chance at life. Was yours worth a while? Be continued. And next, we thank you for reading this. Your support means the world to me. I hope you continue to enjoy Wayfinder as well as a side project. Be well. Okay. So those were the extra content. Um, so first about the this whole thing about Finn reminiscing the past. So this must be, I don't know how many years of future, but it's certainly years of the future. And Arkin said he's still chopping wood and providing for his village, so I don't think they're necessarily elderly here. But I think they're more like middle aged, I guess. I don't know, but it's probably a couple of decades in the past, well, in the future anyway. This about a few decades in the future, maybe more than that. Not sure, but anyway, it was definitely well into the future. And I guess Finn is living in their realm now. I'm not sure. But I don't think he would be living in a place like this if he was on Earth. It looks pretty nice, But again, he's got college. He was in college getting an education, so maybe so. Maybe he got a job where he was able to get a place like that. But again, maybe he did so much for their realm. He's gained so much respect that he's probably living in a place like that as thanks, from the for his participation and all that. But anyway, so we saw the three of them in front of the elders, and Oros, he's a piece of work, and all of them seem okay, though they're still kind of stuck in their ways. They don't want to take Finn's recommendations. They want to do things the same. And I think the second one was living the ball, and we got to meet Bjorn for the first time. Well, how about Jane? Jane, we got to meet Jane for the first time. This guy right here, he's actually bigger than Bjorn by a good stretch, and he's very flirty. He clearly likes guys. He, at least based on what Bjorn said so far, or said earlier, he seems to want to keep his family dominant. Well, James does. James wants to keep his family dominant. So we haven't really got to hear anything from James. So maybe what's later on in the story, once we get to talk about, when we get to talk to James, we'll get to see him clarify some things, and maybe he does want to keep his family dominant, but maybe also try to help others as well. Try to keep his family dominant while also helping the other, helping the greater population of wolf giants. But I don't know. But again, he might just not care about the people at all. I mean, he seems kind of friendly in the original version of Wayfinder. He's flirty, but he's friendly with Finn. Now, this is a new version of Wayfinder, so we haven't gotten to that part where we meet, when we go to their realms yet and meet their relatives. But in the original version, we do that much earlier in the story. So but this version here we're doing a lot later. But anyway, so we'll just have to see what James' view is. But we know for certain what Bjorn's version is, and it was this dog barking, so that's kind of why I got this combobulated a few moments ago, this dog barking. Anyway, so we got to see Tucker's secret. He's a werewolf, and he was the one who bit that person who was trying to kill Finn. So I don't know if he killed that person or he just severely injured him to the point where he wouldn't be able to attack Finn anymore. At least not at least he wouldn't be able to attack Finn in the short term. But I don't know if he killed him or not. But suddenly there was a lot of there was a yell for pain and some bone crackling. So yeah, he did. So Tucker is a werewolf, and apparently there was some connection between wolf giants and werewolves, I guess. But he certainly knows about this whole situation. He's been knowing about it a lot longer than Finn has, probably. So this one right here, this one here, are Arkin's brothers, and this here is Arkin's sister, and I don't know who these are yet. I don't know who they are. I don't know if they're related to Finn or they're just humans who are not connected to Finn. I don't know. Maybe they'll be important, but I don't know who these are. I know this Finn's mom. So, yeah, I guess this is the werewolf as as Tucker. So basically, this is Tucker, and you're knowing through here that this is the werewolf. This is what Tucker would look like as a werewolf. Right, so anyway, they were in the mall using their magic to evade being noticed by the security guard, and they were changing up clothes in the mall, and Sheriff got annoyed at James, and he's got turned off and still want to deal with him. Too flirty. And yeah, that's how they met. The three of them. Going to this mall that the elders recommended them to go to and change. And then in the bar scene, um, right after Finn left, the three wolf giants talked about Finn and the fact that they value Finn a whole lot, and they really do appreciate Finn for agreeing to go with them. That's what I like about the three of them. They appreciate what Finn is doing for them, and they recognize that it's going to disrupt his life some, but I do at least they do recognize what Finn is doing, and they're grateful to him. And then the three of them talked about their lives, and Orkin being the only grown up in the village that's really healthy. He does a bunch of the work there because most of the people there are either sickly or they're too young to really do all the heavy lifting. So the people in his village rely on him pretty much entirely. And Jared was being locked up in the castle by his parents, and he never got to go outside until now. But he's been locked up in that castle, and it's like prison. He just want to get out and explore. And Bjorn, he talks about his parents. They just want to keep their power. They don't care about others really. They just want Bjorn to win, so they can keep their power and stay rich. So yeah. Okay, so all three of them want to make their realm better, and they want to turn away from the old way of doing things. Just abandoning people for your own gain. Which is apparently what the previous wolf giant did, and probably some of the elders even. Um, and they vowed to help each other out also, whoever becomes wolf giant. So I like that also. They gotta help each other out, regardless of who becomes wolf giant. Help you work with each other. That's what I like about these three here. They got the right views, right mindset, and they're willing to help each other out, regardless of who becomes the great chief. So I think things are gonna be a lot better for the realm, regardless of who Finn picks. So I think we've covered everything for Wayfinder now. We're up to date with the main story, and we covered all of the extra content. So certainly whenever a new update comes out for Wayfinder, I'll get to it right away. So thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.